Okay, I think I'm live. Okay, hello. Sorry for the delay. I am a few minutes late. So, welcome to this live stream. So, this continuing beyond this lifetime clarity session. So, I'm just going to wait just for a moment just to see if anyone's hopping on. So, if you're watching the replay, just take a few moments just to get yourself nice and comfortable because I have a lot of beautiful channelings for you and lots of questions to answer. So I'm just going to hang on and just make sure I am in the right place and that you know that I'm here. Okay. Oh, hello, Izzy. Yes, you're here. Okay, good. So I'm definitely streaming. Yeah, just as I went to go live exactly at 7, the camera just switched off, the audio switched off, and I had to restart everything. And that's what happens sometimes when you go live. So hello, Wisteria. Hello. So beautiful souls, I'm very excited to be showing up in this session because I put a post out a few days ago around what questions might you have on the areas of death, passing over, our loved ones, grief, all of these themes, often the themes that we avoid talking about. So I thought, just given that I had some really great questions that came in off the back of the post, I'm going to do this live stream so we can share perspectives. So I'm going to explain now very quickly who I'm channeling, just in case you're new to me. A little just a snippet of who I am in case you've not met me before. Hello, Jan. Hello. And I'm going to basically dive into my guides. We're going to channel. You're going to hear direct channelings from them, opening up and exploring these really big, juicy topics that are my favorite topics to talk about. And I invite you as well to pop your questions below. So I've got a handful of questions here that some people have posted before, so I'm going to go through those. So if any of you are here live and you want to ask a question, hey Shah, around anything, around any of what we're talking about, pop them in the chat box and then I'll come back to them and I'll just make my way through them and I'll cover as many as I can in the time that I've got here. And at the end, I was going to share some resources. I'll see if I can dig some stuff out if we've got time. If not, I'll post it separately. All right, so welcome. So where should we start? Okay, I'll just do a quick introduction. I think all of you here know me, but in case you don't, I'm Marie Fleming Grant. I'm founder of the Awake Revolution, and I'm an activator, a guide, a channel, and I'm all about helping you transform your inner world to create who you came here to be. So I work with a lot of people who are on their missions, their star seeds. Maybe they know it, maybe they don't. They're old souls. It's all about dropping the baggage, waking up the real you, and revolutionizing how you think, feel, live, and create to be all of who you came here to be. And in current times, there's so much going on. This is more important than ever, and more of us are stepping into ourselves in a more connected way, where we're tuning in more, we're becoming more intuitive, and all of these amazing things. So I'm here to really share information, energies. I have services. So my website is here below, theawakerevolution.com. You can check out any ways to work with me there and just a bit more about what I do. So welcome to this live stream. So I'm excited. And as I said, we're going to be sharing perspectives on these big topics. I've got some really great questions here that we're going to dive into. And just quickly before we start, I've got some notes here as well, but it's as always, the way that I talk very directly. It's a combination of me and my guides, who I'll introduce you to in a moment. So we're very direct in perspectives, and hopefully you will feel the energies, you'll feel the love, you'll feel the frequencies coming through. So just in case you're new, it's just a reminder that it's your choice always as to whether or not you pick up or receive what we're sharing, whether it resonates or not. And some of the things that we share, because they're higher perspectives, it will depend on where you're at and the level of and the different awareness state that you're in. So sometimes you can hear things and they resonate straight away, you can feel it. Sometimes you can hear things that you're not really sure, even maybe a little uncomfortable with. So we just invite you to just take and be open to whatever you want to receive, and really drop and ignore anything that I'm saying that really doesn't feel good to you in your body. It's never about persuading you or convincing you or pulling you out of your own belief systems, but most definitely if you tune into these messages, yeah, we will be expanding and activating you just because you're present in this energy, and the energy is powerful. So enjoy and take whatever you want to take from that. All right. So most of you know, all of you here anyway. So I honored to channel the high angelic realm. And most of you are aware of the angels. You know, you've heard of angels. It's more mainstream than it was before, and most people are comfortable with angels, I guess. So it's the high angelic realm, and they are beautiful, beautiful energy, and they are going to be, I think, the main guides through this session. So as I channel, majority of what I'm going to channel is going to come directly from the high angelic realm, and that's why there's going to be a very loving frequency to this when we explore these themes. And our intention is to really lift, because this is an area for a lot of us, right? We've got grief, or we've got worries or concerns. Maybe you've just recently lost someone, or you're in the process of, or you've had an experience. Most of us, you know, alive, have had an experience. So we're really going to set the intention now, right now, and just invite you to take a breath, just to lighten your minds, lighten your hearts, bring some reassurance to you, some comfort if you need, some expansion, tapping into some higher perspectives that, you know, beyond majority of what we've been taught here on the planet, because most of what we've been taught here on the planet is very much designed to disconnect us and really keep us in a lot of fear, keep us very separated from our loved ones who've passed on. That's another big one. And to keep us in this eternal grief. So a lot of you will know that feeling, you know, 10 years on and you're still deeply grieving. And so there's a lot of heaviness that a lot of humans carry. So our intention with this live session is to bring some clarity, some relief, some lightness as well, to those of you. And it could even be that you make your way to this particular live stream, you know, months or even years after this initial session. Right now it's November 2023. So whenever you make your way to this is perfect divine timing. Okay, and also the other part of my divine team that I channel is the High Arcturian Council, and they are a beautiful consciousness of beings, and they are higher dimensional galactic beings. And I know that for some of you that feels really normal now. For some of you, you might be hearing that for the first time. So again, it's just inviting you to stay open to what you feel resonates with you. So they are also going to be part of this session. I often channel them all together as a consciousness, but I'm just being told that they are here present with me, as they always are, but it's the high angelic realm that's going to lead this session. But I'll tell you when it's a different energy, because the Arcturians have some really interesting perspectives to share, because they are an advanced civilization, and the way that they live is so different to the way that humans live, and we can learn so much from basically beings that are more advanced and further along on the spiritual path, right? So that's where they're going to come into it. But they're all here, and yeah, they just want to start with sharing much love with you, blessings and greetings to all of you who have joined us today in this live session, and also later whenever you tune into these messages. And they first want to invite you to really relax. Okay, so as you're receiving this information, we're going to move through some questions to really relax if you can. Be aware of your breathing and getting yourself into a comfortable space, because this helps your learning, and it helps the wisdom for you to really receive it in a very embodied way. Okay, so rather than, yeah, they're really big on that, of course, rather than us just like hearing the information, we can learn from our heads, right? But actually when we really breathe and we really get into our bodies, you can retain and really receive some of these perspectives, and you allow your soul to kind of activate. And they want to remind you that this is a remembrance. So really view this session as a remembrance session. Yes, it's a clarity session, but it's to help you remember. This is information that we're going to share through these questions that your souls already know. It's just in the human form you forget. So a lot of you are asking questions, and this is just about remembering. All right. Okay. So that's my husband, MP Grant. Hello. Downstairs. knowing one day how this is going high and international. Thank you. He's my biggest cheerleader, my support, my foundation for everything that I do, and he's like the rock for everything that I am. So that is really nice. Okay, so let's see. Where do we want to start? Okay, so we're just going to dive into the questions. And as you're watching, if any questions come to you, pop them in the chat box. If I don't see them, I'll go through at the end and I'll answer if we haven't already covered them. So anything that you want to know about as we're moving through. Okay, so first question. I'll just have a sip before I get going. I get very pink when I channel as well. I actually have a fan here, so I can just cool myself down because I got really hot last week's clarity session. Okay, it's a very high frequency. All right, so first question. So are my loved ones really in a better place? That's just a really, really good question. So are my loved ones in a really in a better place? Of course, they're saying yes. A lot of you are holding on to much grief and suffering because there is a belief perhaps or a confusion that your loved ones have somehow come to an end. And so much of your grieving is in two parts. In one part, you are grieving the loss of someone because you do not have them connected with you anymore in the physical. And so, because of the programming on the planet, you have connected into this idea that there is an end. They have ended, and this is causing many of you still, yes, to hold this grief so heavily upon your hearts. And the other aspect of that is to feel that there is no further communication. And we wish to share this with you and shed some light and clarify. And we are delighted to do this with you, to really bring you through into a remembrance that there is no end. There is never an end to an infinite source of light. And so when you start to remember that far beyond your human forms, you are a soul, a light, a consciousness that expands far beyond your current lifetime. You have had many lifetimes before, you will have many incarnations going forwards. We speak of before and forwards in a very light human way so you can understand this, but really time in itself is happening all at once. But we are speaking so that you can understand and comprehend the main points of what we are sharing. And so as you start to remember, there is no end. None of you come to an end. You are infinite souls. And so what happens when a loved one or any human passes out of their physical is that they have reached the conclusion, the completion of their life cycle. And what this means is that they have come to the end of their train journey, so to speak. Okay, so they're showing me like an analogy, and I've had this one before from them where they're kind of giving me the visual. So imagine we all get on this train journey. We're actually getting on at different stops. We have a ticket. Each of us has a ticket that has a rough kind of, they're saying it's not exact, but it's a general destination. So we kind of have a rough idea of where our destination's going to go. We can always change this. Sometimes souls, when they get on the train of life, they change their minds. So sometimes they exit earlier than planned. Sometimes they exit later than they planned. So you always have a choice. But the remembrance here is to know that each of you are on your journeys and you have a ticket. And so when a loved one, someone that you love so dearly, exits the physical, start to think of this in terms of their train journey has come to an end. And it is by choice that they have decided to exit the train. They have their ticket. They are happy. They are complete. And this does not mean that if they were unhappy in their physical lives, that this is what they take with them. And some people are unhappy in their physical lives, but this is just the human experience. And so regardless of their state towards the end of their physical life, on a soul level, they are complete, they are content with the experience. And so when they leave, they are simply continuing. Oh, hold on, excuse me. My phone is going. Human and channeling. Gotta get my connection back. Hold on. Okay, they are continuing on their journey. And so start to see your loved ones in this capacity. So they have taken their train ticket, they have exited the train, and they are continuing on another part of their journey. They are no longer on the train, but they are in another vehicle now. They are in another on another track. And so when you start to know this, know that all of your loved ones, every single one of them, they have continued. They are in existence. They have never ceased to exist. And so we would love to share the message with you right now that you can continue to communicate with them wherever they are. Continue to open up to receive from them. It is only through your grief or your belief that it is not so that it is difficult for you to receive communications from them. So yes, your loved ones are in a, we would say, a higher vibrational place. We do not use the word better because there is no real comparison in this way. We understand that is a human word, but to reassure you, to soothe your hearts, know that every single one of your loved ones who has completed their life cycle, they continue on in a different frequency. That is all it is. It's a different frequency. And we remind you that the earth is a very challenging place. And so when your loved ones depart, they are looking at you still in this challenging place, and they have much love for you. And so when you are spending much time worrying about them and feeling very bad or terrible about them, saying it's irrelevant, so release that if you can. Release that from your hearts. Release that from being a burden on you, because all is well. Okay, so just take a breath on that one. Okay, I love that. Okay, so next question: are they? I love that kind of they kind of float onto the next question naturally. So, are they around? Are our loved ones around, watching over us and guiding us? Okay. Yes. So they are always around. And so to answer this question, saying it is important just to very quickly touch on time. So outside of your physical experience, there is no time the way that you as humans measure. And so your loved ones, even though they have completed their physical experience, they have moved on to the next phase of their journey, and they are experiencing other experiences. It may be across other timelines, in other incarnations, past, present, future, all at once. And so at the same time, they can still communicate with you, because no matter what their experiences are, they're showing me the soul can be over there on another timeline, in another life incarnation, physical body. But because you're still here in this timeline and you are connected to them, you are connected to them from the experience you've had, there is almost, they show me almost like, imagine a thread between you and them. So the communication is still open. And so know that, yes, they are here. Many of your loved ones, they are aware. They are all aware of what you are experiencing. They can tap into this in any moment. And so this is nice. So when you feel that you miss your loved ones and you wish that they were here for a certain experience, or you wish that they could know of this joy that you have had, or the change in your life, or the promotion, or the celebration, or the change, or you wish that they were here to assist you through the challenges, know that they are. Know that they are. And the more that you are open to this and you can continue the conversation, you can strengthen that channel, because it is a channel between you and them, and the channel connects through your heart space. And so this is why when those who are in heavy grieving, and we understand that humans do this, but when you are in heavy grieving, it is difficult to connect. This is why many of you do not always receive signs from your loved ones just after a passing, because many of you are still in the heavy grief stage. And when you are grieving so heavily, it is very difficult for you to tune into a frequency where you can communicate. And they're saying many of you have had experiences of perhaps communications, but later on. Yeah, I had communications with my dad like years after. Yeah, so I definitely can vouch for that one. Yeah, so yes, to answer that question, they are around, they're guiding you, and the more that you ask, the more that they can assist. The only time that they would not guide you on a specific life issue is that if you are being guided already by certain guides at a certain level. So depending on what they are doing, so to speak, sometimes it is another ancestor perhaps that will be guiding you, or another part of your guidance teams, but you can still call upon your loved ones and know that they are still here, and they are aware of you. So continue to love them, continue to connect with them through your heart space. And they're saying this also ripples out into your animals, your, many of us call them fur babies, right? This is the same. Animals also have souls, and the same applies. It is all the same. And so you can continue to communicate with your animals, those members of your family that are in animal form, because the souls can still connect. Yes, and many of you can still communicate with your loved ones in the dream space, and in the astral realm. So you are always in communication. It's just sometimes you do not remember when you wake. Okay, so we don't lose anyone, they continue. And I just want to say quickly on that, this is never to take away from the very human grief, or the human, like, we miss people, we might get all this, some of you will understand all of this, but you just might still it really pulls on your heart because you miss them so much. So the missing part, it's that part of us that really feels the absence of them. So that's the absence of the physical. So if you're experiencing that, we recommend as well that you really turn up the dial on your communication. Like, hey Neil, sit with this, sit with your like the feelings that you have, and send them love. Like, I'll give you an example with my my beautiful fur baby, my cat Will, back in 2020, I think it was. And every now and then, when you get that like pure hit in the heart, and you think, oh, I just feel like I wish I could scoop him up. And he was so wise, he had so much energy, magical cat. And so I kind of spent some time, I do this every now and then, I just close my eyes and I can feel what it feels like to pick him up, hold him, stroke him, love him. I can feel the energy so strongly, and I can really connect into that. And when I do that just for like 10-15 minutes, like a meditation, I feel better. I feel like, oh, I've just spent some time with him, because we can spend time with our loved ones through our minds and our hearts. It's a real thing. So try that next time you think of your loved one and you really wish you could spend time with them. Actually, like, sit with yourself and your loved one for 15 minutes or however long, and really go there. Because what we do is we tend to switch that off, and then our minds take over, and we feel the absence, but we don't have to feel the absence quite so strongly. So when you play in the energetics, more and more, you're going to really feel that connection, and it really, really works. So yeah, definitely something that you can try. Okay. All right. So next question 3, are they waiting for me? Like, loved ones, are our loved ones, wait, let me just take a sip. And let me know if any of you have any more questions as we go. Okay, so yes, when it is your turn to exit this lifetime, all of you have slightly different journeys, because it also depends on your consciousness and your levels of awareness whilst you're in this form. But in general, they're showing me, as you exit the physical form and you start to reintegrate back into spirit, and they're saying just see this as a different, just a frequency. So you're moving into a different frequency, and you have all the awarenesses of the lifetime that you've had, and you start to remember yourself as part of source, and you start to, they're saying it's a reintegration. We reintegrate back into source energy, but with all of our knowings. And so this is where, yes, you will have the awareness of all and everything and all souls that you have connected with. So this is the space, yes, where you can see and connect and be again. They're saying, using the human word reunited, is the energy that many of you are wanting to connect in with them. And in that space, you will remember that time does not exist and all is well, all is one again. And so also, oh, they said, okay, this is an interesting one that they said to me the other day, so we're going to share it here. This has nothing to do with whether or not anyone is still in the physical or they are not in the physical. So yeah, they're showing me, let's say you, when you leave this lifetime, when you go out of the physical into the spirit realm, you will connect with, yes, your loved ones who have also left the physical. You're going to also connect with those of your loved ones who are still in the physical, because they're saying only aspects of you drop into incarnations. And because you are an infinite soul, you will still have to you will still be able to connect with the aspects of those still in the physical. So this is why you do not lose anything. You are never disconnected from anyone. It is not about the order in which you depart the physical. So none of that matters. That's all irrelevant. So when you are out of the physical, you can connect with everyone. So they're saying it's not like they have to, this idea of you've got to like wait. Like if you go, that you've got to wait for someone else to finish their lifetime and then you finally get together with them, or the people that have gone already, they have to wait maybe like 50 years for you to finally leave this lifetime and be reunited. It isn't like that. They're saying it's outside of that. So it's bigger than that, right? So they want to just hold this lightly with you and just ask you to take a breath into that. But it's more expansive. This linear thing that we've got going, it's only a human understanding while we're here to make sense of like life. But actually outside of that, we're all connected. All right. So yes, our loved ones, we're going to see them again whenever we've had. And they also want to remind you that you've had so many lifetimes with your loved ones, those that are close to you, those that are significant souls in your lifetimes. You've had many, many incarnations with them, because you have a cluster of souls that like to incarnate and have different experiences with one another. And so you'll have so many other opportunities. Nothing is ever lost. And the love that you have is eternal. And this includes, they also want to, for some of you who hold this heavy, anyone that you have perhaps had a difficult relationship with, or there are things perhaps were left on a challenging energy between you, and some of you perhaps carry the guilt that you didn't make it right, or that the last thing that you said to them wasn't the best thing that you could have said to them, or such energy. And they want to remind you and to encourage you now to release this right now, because it really isn't relevant. It is something that is very inaccurate. It is not how it works. And so arguments and difficult challenges between you, they do not continue when you have left the physical, because you remember who you are, and who you are is a source of unconditional love. And so none of that matters. And so you are all aware that you are playing a role here. You are all aware that you are simply here as humans experiencing a very specific set of life experiences. So if you can release this from your heart, whatever the last words were, whatever the last experience was, all is well. And they do not hold on to anything either. So just breathe into that. Yeah. So really know that, because a lot of people carry that. A lot of people do. Yeah, like I know people that have had regrets, like maybe they didn't answer the phone, or they kind of, have you ever been on the phone and you're like, oh, I gotta go because I haven't got time to speak right now, and you just get off the phone or something, and you didn't give that person time, and then the next minute you find that they're not here. People hold on to this guilt a lot. Oh, hey Darren. Yeah, hold on to the happy and positive, let go of the negative. Yeah, it's so important when someone's not here anymore, because we are the ones here living, and we're holding on to this baggage that we just don't need to hold on to. So yeah, a lot of us have that experience where we start to criticize ourselves, maybe, I'm so glad you feel lighter. I'm so glad. That was literally the intention. Good. Really, really feel that. And replay this if you need a reminder, right? If you ever go back into that heaviness, or just replay this and hear it again. I'm really glad. Yeah, so you can release the guilt, you can release the anything, any of you that feel like you didn't do enough for that person, you could have stepped up. They're saying notice it, learn from it, grow from it. Notice how you would now do things differently, perhaps. You would make different choices. This is going to help you become wiser and more conscious, but you do not need to hold on to any of the guilt or the criticism, because that actually holds you back. It does not allow you to grow, and you don't need it. Love is all there is, and that continues. Okay, that's a big one. Okay, next question. Do they send signs they are there? We kind of partly answered that, but yes, they do. And just to reiterate, the more that you are open, the easier it is for you to notice. Signs will come in all different shapes and sizes, and they'll be significant to you. So many of you recognize this in certain ways. It may be that you hear a song. It may be that you hear a phrase or a word that somebody says that reminds you. Some of you have certain signals, like robin redbreast. That's a big one for a lot of people. Different energies, yes. And so just notice the signs, and beyond the sign, it's the feeling that accompanies it. So they're saying, if you see a sign and the first thing you feel is that loved one, you feel the association, trust this. They're saying, dear ones, trust this, because this is your loved ones communicating with you. And many of you it's easier to communicate with you through these signs. Some of you can receive it through a thought, an impulse, almost as if you imagine the person whispering and telling you something. Trust this. So this is really about trusting that, and expecting that, of course, you're going to have signs and communications. It's all around you. And ask, they're saying, same as, we often encourage you to ask your divine teams, ask for guidance, ask your loved ones for a sign, ask your loved ones to show you something, to let you know that they are here, they're still connected. Ask and pay attention. And they're saying, get into lightness around this. So the easier it is, it is easier when you step into lightness. So rather than put pressure and make it very serious, get into playfulness around this and see how many signs you can see. And also, some of you have visits in dreams, again, because it is the easiest way that they can communicate with you. Again, depending on what is happening for you in your life, how open and receptive you are currently. Sometimes the dream state is where you may have a communication. You may wake up and feel you've spent time with your loved one, or you may wake up and feel that you've had a conversation, or you feel soothed in some way. And so there are many different ways. And we remind you that when you sleep, you are traveling through the astral realm, and so you can connect with anyone, whether they are in the physical or not. And so you can continue to have conversations, and you do. They're saying you all do have conversations. You continue to have them. Okay. I remember when I was 6, nearly 7, and my nan, she passed away, and I was very, very young, but I was very aware of it. And we had a very kind of open way in our family. Like, as a child, you'd go to the funeral, you'd see them in their, coffin, and it was very open there. And I saw all of that. And I had a dream. She visited me in a dream. I still remember the dream to this day. That's how real it was. And it was her standing outside the window of our home, and she was waving. She rang me up on the phone. It was a red, those the old dial-y phones. And she rang me up, and I answered the phone. And as I looked out the window, she was waving at me. And that was her way of saying goodbye, because I was only 6. I didn't fully understand it. But after that dream, I really did. I really understood, and I never forgot that dream. It was as real as any memory I've ever had, and I still recognize that. And I've often had that connection to family members once they've passed over, because I can feel them. So yeah, we just continue. We continue. So they're always here, and I think that's the most important thing to know, because we forget, don't we? We just forget that they are. been visited at night recently. Yep, been listening to vibrational music to open the third eye and more. Good. And I'm feeling so much more connected and relaxed. Yes, because you're going to experience more, you know. I love that. So the more you normalize this, the more that we get out of this idea that oh, it's scary, you know. Like, a lot of people are even still scared of the idea of their loved ones visiting them, you know, just like popping up in the corner of their living room, or sometimes at night, or wherever, and it freaks them out. When I was in my 20s, my aunt died. She was my godmother, and very close, and my aunt, who I loved. And when she passed away, it was in the evening, and I walked into, it was probably just a few days, I think she had passed, and I walked into, no, I was sitting on the edge of my Elise's little bed when she was little, and I was waiting for her to fall asleep. And when she fell asleep, I was just sitting there for a moment, and I heard a bang, like a cupboard being closed in the little kitchen. I was in this like little studio flat, and the kitchen cupboard banged, and I freaked out, and I sat there, and I was like, holy crap, that is something, I don't like that. So I got up and I went in about 20 minutes later, by the way, because I sat there. I was too scared. I was like 23 or something, and I was sitting there going, oh my God. And I walked into the living room, and I was like hit with this perfume fragrance that I've never smelt in real life, but it is such a distinct smell. I can remember it, because I can remember smells as memories, and I can still smell it now. I know what it feels like and smells like. And I went in, but it wasn't just the smell, it was this energy that was like really weird for me at the time, and it kind of sort of brushed past me, encircled me. I was hot and shivering at the same time. It was like hot and cold, and it freaked me out, because back then I was just not open the way I am now. Now, not a lot would freak me out on that at all. But back then I was like, oh my God, I was freaking out. I did eventually calm down. I did then know that it was her. And then what I actually said, I said to her, I love you, and I'm glad that you've come to visit me, and I'm so glad that you did, but can you please come back in the day? Please don't visit me at night. I don't like it. Something about the night. It's no different really. It's just something about the night, right? So I said, please don't come back at the night, like in the night ever, but you can come and visit me anytime. So the next day, in the pure daylight, I came into that living room again, and Elise was just like, I think she was like watching some cartoons or something, and the kind of energy was circling her. It was all around. I said to her, are you okay? She was fine. And I said, oh, you're here, you're back. And then I went into the hallway, and then the sort of energy was like literally with me, and I could feel it, and I wasn't scared, and I was good. And I said, thank you. Yeah, so visit me anytime, just don't do it in the night. And that's kind of my rule. It's like, okay, if it happens at night, that's fine, but I would prefer, because I like when I go to sleep just to be left alone. So I kind of have that little boundary, I suppose. That's what it is. And when I went to her funeral, I got to say, after that experience, when I went to her funeral, it was the first time I didn't get that horrible grief feeling. So I'll just talk about it. If this is really triggering for you, I'm just going to say, if you've just lost somebody and this is really going to trigger you, then maybe just like tune off just for like 2 minutes while I talk about that, but use your own discernment. But it's just this idea of like, when you go to a funeral, sometimes when it's like, especially when you go to a burial, something about the coffin, and they lower it into the ground. It's very, I've always found that very heavy, and that's typically where a lot of people get very, very like traumatized and upset, and my family would like very upset. And it's the first time, and I've been to funerals before that. This was when I was like, yeah, in my 20s, and it was the first time that as that was happening, the coffin was going in, and everybody was crying. I was looking at it going, she's not in there. That's her physical body. My aunt is doing the rounds. She's visiting us all for a start. She's floating around, nosing into everyone's like everything. She's really figuring out like what's been happening in our family and what's been going on. And I knew that because I could feel, I knew it was her. I already had this experience. And I remember really watching that and really, and I mean really embodying this idea that that is a physical body, that is not the person. And I reminded myself of the same thing when I went to see my dad, and he had passed away, and I was debating, do I want to go see him in the chapel of rest? I'm not sure. Those places, the morgue or whatever you call them, freak me out sometimes. And I went, and it wasn't nice. And I saw him, and I kind of just switched off. I didn't hold that image of him for too long because that was his last moments. It wasn't a nice thing, but I reminded myself that is his shell. That is his body. You can feel it. His soul is flying somewhere else. And I knew that from my experience with my aunt that stayed with me my whole entire life. And I think I was meant to have that experience. So I really am very solid in that. Not to say I wouldn't grieve if someone close to me is going to pass. Of course, I'm going to feel it. But I'm going to also remember that is their physical body. They are free now. They are they're in the other frequency. It's us that has to be on this planet that's heavy. We're still in the challenge. They are fine. They're connected back in, and in fact they're looking at us hoping that we're okay because they are fine. So I just wanted to share that with you because it's not about taking away from the grief, but it's just about bringing these higher perspectives in and blasting through this programming that the energies on this planet love us to tap into, and they love us being in grief, and they love us being disconnected because it keeps us in fear and it keeps us from ascending and growing, right? So if we start expanding, it's okay, and we can hold this, we can move through these periods of grief easier. We're still going to grieve. I have all this knowledge, I'm still going to grieve, but we'll move through it easier, right? That's the aim of the game. Okay, so you're not scared in any way now, Darren. Mum passed away 8 years ago in 4 days. Looking forward to her visits. I love that. Totally aware and awaiting. Good. That is amazing because that's where you get to connect back into the love, right? It's amazing you're doing the show now. As it's totally right for me right now. Oh, good. As always, you're on the ball for me. Love you. Oh, we love you too. And thank you for being here. Yes, love your connection to everything. Yes. In fear of nothing. Exactly. That is the energy, right? So we want to release the fear. We want to lighten our hearts. And when we release the fear, guess what's going to happen? We're going to get more visits. We're going to get more communications. We're going to start to normalize this, so you can open up and say, oh, my grandmother or my aunt or my uncle or my dad or whoever visited me, and your friends go, oh, tell me about it, rather than you're a nutcase. What are you talking about? Like, that is bullshit. All right. So this is very real. It's actually very normal. Very, very normal. Okay. Okay. Just a few more questions. When we're not incarnated here, where do we go? Okay. I love that. So let's see. Oh, everywhere. So that's a very expansive question, which we could do a whole live stream on, but we're going to keep it concise. When you are not incarnated here on this timeline, so just like to blow your mind a little bit, maybe, you can be incarnated on different timelines on this planet. You can be incarnated in many other planets, many other star systems, in other physical forms, in non-physical forms. You have a huge array, an expansive and unlimited array of incarnations. So there is a lot more to your existence. And so they're saying, just to hold this lightly, because that's a very expansive topic, but just to know that you can move anywhere. Sometimes you can remain in spirit. They're saying because it's not a time factor, sometimes it's challenging to convey this information into human form because the human mind will start to attach timing to it. But they're saying it's beyond that. So if you can start to hold it lightly and imagine that you can leave this physical incarnation, and when you're not incarnated here, you can spend time learning in the spirit realm. You can review this lifetime. You can have a review of other lifetimes. You can pop into and out of other timelines, other versions of this life. Yes, other trainings in different places. Many of you listening have had incarnations beyond the human. A lot of you like to return to the earth plane because the earth plane has such a unique training ground, experience, playground. There's so much here on this planet. It is a unique planet. And so many of you choose to come here many, many times. Many of you have chosen to specifically come here for the current time, but you also have many choices. So it is like they're saying a menu, not just a few things, many things. So to understand, that's why sometimes you know things from beyond this planet. Okay, so, and more of you are going to step into that understanding. Right. Hello, Sabra. Just as I said that, you just popped up. So you're a good example of that, right? Multidimensional woman that you are, right? So we're really starting to understand that more and more. Okay. So yeah, we have a multitude of different places that we can incarnate, which I love. Darren says, how do you pop up at the exact right time and the right subject all the time? Well, that is to do with you. It's like, I'm here a lot. And when isn't it interesting? You just gravitate towards a certain live stream or a certain person's message at the right time. And that's a very good sign that you're very on track at the moment. So you're allowing yourself to gravitate, because I do lots of lives. You won't catch them all, right? But you'll catch the ones suddenly you're on the right live stream, right? So trust that that's more to do with your alignment. And I love that. I love that. Oh, thank you, Sabra. Yeah, Darren, I'll come back to that question in a second. I love that question. I'll just finish these ones and I'll come back to yours in a second. Okay, I think the next one. Do we always get to reunite with our loved ones? Oh yeah, I think we answered that one, right? So a big resounding yes. And we can continue communicating, but yes, we absolutely do. We answered that one, I think. Yes, we did. Is there any separation in the spirit realm, like we've been taught to believe? Good question. Good, bad, or in between? So separation in the spirit realm. Okay, let's see. I love that. What just came to me is before I channel is that program. If any of you have seen it, The Good Place. You know, it's on Netflix, and I used to have Netflix. Yeah, just came to me. If any of you have seen that. I'll just take a breather. Let me just charge my laptop. When I channel, the battery seems to go super quick. Oh, you love that program, yeah. Yeah, it's funny. Okay, what was the question? Is there any separation in the spirit realm, like we've been taught to believe? Good, bad, in between? Okay, let's see. No. So the separation is a very human construct, and so you've been taught good, bad, right, wrong, black, white, and also you have a big, whether or not you individually believe it, but the collective belief, the collective programming through various religions and different kind of ways, is that there is a judgment and there is like a segregation. So, and the idea that you'll be judged and you'll be categorized into good, bad, or a heaven or a hell, or a different place in accordance with your life experience. And so this is a very important factor we wish to clarify, that there is no judgment. And so when you leave the physical, the closest to judgment, and we would not use this word, but we are using this word so you may understand, the closest to this energy is through you via your own souls. So you will always have an experience of being able to tap into your human incarnation or any incarnation that you've had. And you will be able to, because you are outside of time and space, you will be able to experience every moment of that life from every perspective, from everyone that you have ever communicated with throughout your entire life. That's a lot of people. So you will also be able to have this snapshot, so to speak, of all of what you have experienced. And this means that you will have a deep understanding and knowing around any of the challenges, anything that you have experienced, and anything that you have participated in others experiencing. And so when you tap into that as a soul, the soul in your purest forms, you are love, and you are light, and you are source, and you are naturally expansive. So you will then have a yearning and they're reminding you, these are human words. They're not quite accurate for that realm, but we're talking human. You will have this yearning, this wanting to balance. And so you yourself, as a soul that you are, will want to balance and experience the other sides of various things. And so there is no judgment, there is no one God who will judge you, or there'll be no body of people who judge you. It is you as a soul who is participating, because you are source. And so source wants to experience all there is to experience. And so this is why it is all around understanding that everything that you go through in this life is an experience. And so the more advanced and developed you become, the more you are wanting to live from your heart. You are wanting to experience more pleasant emotions. You are wanting to feel expansive and connected to others, and it will start to ripple out into the way that you incarnate. And so this is what it is about. And so there is no judgment. And so we hope that you find this useful, because some are carrying much many of you, it's to do with religious programming or upbringing that you've been told, and they've been told, and they've been told that you will be judged, or that you are not worthy, or you are not good enough, or you have not done well enough. And so there is no punishment. There is no such energy as a punishment. This is not so. Even karma, they're saying, when many humans talk of karma, they talk of karma as if it is a punishment, and it is not so. The energy and the law of karma is simply about balance, and it is simply about experiencing. And it is to do with you wanting to experience all there is, which is why you have continuous incarnations in all different ways. And so release the fear around this, release any of this. But it is you yourself as a soul that will look at what you have experienced and what you wish to experience next. Okay. And yes, they're saying that. Okay, we'll leave that for now. Again, we could go off on that one. That's a big, deep subject as well. Okay. Okay, and then the last question, and then I'll just see if there's questions here in the comments. Okay, yeah, so someone asked, how can we help, if we can, to provide support or words of wisdom for our loved ones who are afraid to transition? So someone was asking, she's looking for the right words to say when her mum asks her questions about dying. So we might be in this situation, right? That I think it's a really good question. If we are in a place where maybe someone is transitioning, how can we comfort them? How can we, help if we can? Okay, let's see what the best thing is. Okay, so first of all, they're saying there are things that you can do, yes, but the first thing we want to remind you of is to lift the burden from your own heart. And we remind you that when someone is transitioning, they are completely surrounded by their teams of angels, of guides, but definitely angels. And so in the same way that throughout your lifetime, you are all connected through your angelic teams, every single one of you has angels. The person who is in transition, they are more connected. So as they transition towards the latter stages, they start to go through more of a gradual process, rather than when someone passes instantly or suddenly. They're saying when someone is transitioning, often through illness and through an awareness that they are transitioning, they start to go through their own journeys where they are in between states. So they're showing me like they're in the physical still, they're still here, but they start to connect into the spirit realm. This is why they can start to then feel and sense, and they will get much reassurance and guidance as they sleep, through the astral realm, through their soul, and also in their physical. So they first want to let you know that it is not all on you. They are having so much support and guidance, and we remind you, they're saying it's a natural transition. On the other side of that, the very human side of it, the best way that you can support is to simply be there, to be present. It does not mean you have to sacrifice yourself in any way, but to simply be there and to let them know that they are loved. But this is also known on a soul level. So there is not much that you need to do. And they also want to remind you that souls will choose the moment of departing. Okay, so this is an important one. They're saying when you are caring for someone who is transitioning, or you're around this, or even if you're not, know that, again, releasing the pressure of getting there on time, or any guilt that you did not make it in time, or you were not present in the room at the time. The same, because this holds a lot of humans in this, again, guilt and grief. And know that the soul will choose the exact moment that they are ready to leave. Some souls hang on for a certain occurrence, maybe for someone to show up, or some souls choose to depart whilst you are in the room. Perhaps they are with family. Other souls may choose to do this in the quiet when no one is looking. And so know that whenever this occurs, all is well. So they really want to remind you that it is not that you have to, like, especially, if you're caring for someone like round the clock, or you're trying to be there and you're worried about missing it. They're saying release, release, release. There's a lot more that is going on. There is a divine timing, and souls will know when they are ready to go. So the best way you can support them is just with your presence, with your intention. And actually, something they're saying is you do not need to encourage them to stay. Sometimes people naturally want to encourage the person to hold on and to stay, and so you can perhaps refrain from that if it feels good to you, and just allow the person the freedom to leave when they wish. And this is met with much relief from the soul, because then they have the freedom, yes, to move past their own guilt. Yes, because some souls can feel guilty if they leave when the person that is next to them are not ready. So that is how to support them. But the main reminder is to know that they are being guided, and they have so much support around them. What came to me as I'm sharing that is my aunt, a different aunt, who passed away from cancer, and she was in a hospice. And I remember this story being told in my family, that she was, it was known she was in the hospice, right? So she was there, and people were visiting her in and out, family, and she was saying, "Who is that young man there?" And she said, "That young man, that blonde haired man, he comes to see me." And nobody, it wasn't a nurse, it wasn't any of the staff, it wasn't anyone there. And I remember hearing that, knowing straight away, yeah, it was like one foot in the physical and one foot kind of transitioning into the other realm. So she was in a frequency where she could start to see what felt like an angel, being in the room. So we all have that. You ever seen City of Angels? They have that lovely narrative in there where they're around, the angels are around, right? So I really like that. Okay, so those are the questions I had already. So I'll just move through any questions that we've got here. Okay, so Darren, you'd asked one. Let's see. Oh, hold on, let me go back. There might be one I missed. Bear with me. Jumping around. Oh, Neil. Okay. Did you answer how long between incarnations? Okay. Or can we incarnate at any point in time we choose? Yeah. If you go back and listen, we kind of answered it through the other questions, because they talk a lot about how there is no time outside of it. So but I will answer that specifically, actually, because it's a slightly different aspect. So there is no time in between incarnations. Oh, this is an interesting one. So they're saying, this is why when you talk of past lives, so let's say they're saying you're aware of someone having a lifetime, and there's an awareness that perhaps they incarnated again. They're saying release the idea that it has to be linear and logical. So yeah, so saying, like, if somebody died in 1960, then we say, oh, they could have been this person reincarnated because this person reincarnated was born in 1961. So it makes sense. Actually, throw that out the window. We can incarnate back into any timeline, as you said, at any point in time we choose. So it's not linear. Our past, so-called past lives, aren't necessarily in the past. We could have this lifetime, and then they're saying we could leave this lifetime, and then the next incarnation we choose, it doesn't have to be in the future from this point. It's just to get our heads around it. It could be in any point, because all of it's happening all at once. And just on that note, if you haven't read Dolores Cannon's book on, I think it's called Conversations with Nostradamus. I think the Nostradamus books, anyway, I only read the first one, but she makes the point of saying when she was communicating with Nostradamus, he made it clear to her that it was incredible, actually, but he made it clear to her that he is not dead. This is not her spirit, his spirit that she's communicating with. He said, I am here on the timeline that I'm in this year, whatever year it was. And he made that very clear, and that he was very well and truly alive. And then she realized that she was accessing different timelines. It wasn't like the ghost or the spirit of Nostradamus. He was here now. So that timeline was existing now, which is one of my favorite subjects. And I think we're going to do another live stream just on that. So we'll go deeper into that, because we're going to talk about timelines and parallel lives and all of that. Okay, so let's see. Darren says, can I ask important question? Is my current lady friend wide awake and lovely? Is she right for me? Okay, completely off topic, but let me just see what they're saying. All I'm getting is trust your instincts. It's not about knowing the outcome. It is about following what is right for you, what you are trusting in yourself. So not to have the outcome. Okay, so just experience it. That's a lot of times they answer me like that when I ask them like a specific thing like that. So I really want to know, like, give me the spoiler. I want to know the end. And they're like, experience it. So yeah, I'm so glad that you have that in your life. Very excited. Okay. Let's see. Izzy, I'll come back to yours in a second. Oh, yeah. So, Darren, you're saying the night before your mum passed, you whispered into her ear, you can go. We are okay. You need to leave the pain. Please go now and stop the pain. Yeah, that's like a beautiful gift that we can give them. Because again, if we were in our grief and we're in our own shoes, we're like, please don't go, please don't go. And then they might be like hanging on for you. And actually, when you give them permission, it is a beautiful gift that you've given them. And that's a lovely thing. Yeah. And she went the next day. Yeah. So, okay, I can't see. I'll just see. Isabel, I see. Okay. So what about those that commit suicide? That is an excellent question on this subject. I love that you asked that question. Because that is a sensitive challenge, right? Let's see. Okay. I'm sure there's a lot to say on that, but let's see what they want to share. Okay. So the suicide energy is one that is also in some parts of the earth plane greatly misunderstood, because again, they're going to say in many times it's the religious programming or the beliefs programming that it is a sin, or that it is like not permitted somehow. And so this is an example of free will. And so even though a soul would never intend in advance to do this, a soul will always drop into an incarnation and even a set of life challenges that it has planned prior to the lifetime. It comes in with a full intention to complete the life cycle, to go through the certain challenges, and to be here for a certain time. They're showing me again the analogy that the soul comes with the train ticket to be on this train for a certain length of time. And they're reminding us that some people choose to get off earlier than their plan, and some people choose to stay longer than they had planned, because we have free will. So you always have free will. So in the cases where a soul has decided to exit deliberately, and you would use the word suicide, it is to do with the soul in that moment exercising their free will, but it is always from a place of disconnect. And so when a soul is connected, a soul would not wish to take that form of action, because once you are connected, you understand, even if you do not consciously know, you understand that you are here for the life experience. What can happen on the earth plane is sometimes a soul can get so overloaded and so consumed by the experience and the amount of heaviness in the soul's vibration, in the physical body. The pain feels excruciating. And so they are simply looking for a way out. They are simply looking for an exit. And so this is why some souls will then take that action. And on the other side, once they have left the physical, There is no judgment. And so we want to make this very clear, abundantly clear for all. There is no judgment. Again, this is a programming that keeps people entrapped into a right, wrong, fear-based program. There is no judgment. Again, it is the soul themselves, the soul yourself, that will determine whether they were pleased with this decision and incarnation or not. And we can say from where we are that many souls who have stepped into this, they have chosen to take their lifetime and exit, they often have a deep regret. And so this is not a human regret, it is a different type, but it is more to do with the soul realizing once they have exited what this experience really was. And so a soul then returns to its full knowing. It has it has its light and its source and its connection, and it simply understands on a soul level that, of course, this was an experience. And then they understand that they chose to exit earlier than they had planned. And so this is all okay because it is simply an experience. Many of you have taken this option before in previous lifetimes. If you understand yourselves as having had thousands of lifetimes, you have not always seen each and every one of your lifetimes through to the end. And so this is something that sometimes happens, but we want you to know that it is all well. And so the soul on the other side of this will then decide what they wish to do next. They have many, many choices as to where they wish to go. Some souls will wish to experience that lifetime again. They can repeat the life cycle and make a different choice. They can enter a different timeline. They can have a completely different experience in a different body with a different set of circumstances. They can choose to connect with those souls that they still have what you would call unfinished business. They wish to complete their contracts with certain souls. And so there is so much love there. There is never judgment. All is well. But it is really more to do with the souls left behind. Those souls are the ones that will carry this with them through the lifetime. And so it is helpful for many of you to really understand more about this, yes, because this is an energy that is on your planet, and you may see more of this as you move forward through your own lifetime. And so we wish to take out the deep suffering around this, but not to take away your human emotions, of course, because we understand that there is so much pain and heartache with this subject. And so we simply wish to help lighten that and to tell you that any loved ones that have exited early than planned, they are loved and they are connected. And so all is well. It is simply an experience that they've had. Okay? Because I know that's a big one. If anyone has any questions off the back of that, message me here or message me in private if there's anything that's we've just sort of touched on and you just need a little bit more something, or if you've anything about that's triggered you in any way, please reach out to me. Don't be shy. I'm so happy to shed a little bit more light on that for you. Okay, because it's a big one. And on that one, I want to say that it's a very normal thing. Like, I've had moments in this lifetime where I've really, really, really not wanted to be here. I contemplated it once when I was in my darkest hour with my illness that had gone on for years. I know a lot of people I've met have said the same. It's part of the experience sometimes that we're going to feel that, and it's just part of the experience. And I think when we don't talk about it at all, it becomes, what people do with that is they make it so taboo that it's the worst thing in the world. And I tell you, when I've had sessions with people, I've had done a lot of therapy with people, so I'm very well versed in this. I've had many clients sit with me and really not want to be here. The act of just speaking it, giving it space, getting it off their chest, and really saying that, something about that is just very freeing and healing. And it's when we don't feel that we can say it that it starts to get locked in, and then it disconnects us, and we don't want to go too far down that disconnection, because it's a lot easier then just to check out. And it's okay even if we did, but it's like our soul is like, damn it. We get it. We leave the physical and then we think, I wish that I stayed. All right, so that's the majority of what the angelic realm said, that most souls feel once they're out, they're like, I wished I could have, been there. So then often they go back and recreate that experience. So it's a big one, right? Yeah. Okay. Tears now. Okay. The good kind, I expect. Um, Yeah, they don't. Yeah, that's true, Neil. Yeah, on Darren's question about his lady. Yeah, they don't like telling people's fortune. You always get a non-specific answer to that one. Yeah, I asked about that because I was like, can't you just tell me, like, la la la? And yeah, they don't do fortunes, and they also it's all about the experience, right? So yeah, they can be very specific. Like there's some answers that they're really specific. Like I'll get guidance on do this, but the other stuff, it's like no, experience it. I'm like, damn it. But it's like going to a movie and you're asking for the plot before you've watched it. And some people are like that. They actually want to know the plot before they've watched it, but it's so much more fun if we don't know. Okay. So I've been close to suicide a couple of times, but never went through it. Okay. Thank you for sharing that. Over grief. Every time. Yeah. I feel like the one that stopped me doing it, my mom. Yeah, and you will get nudges, whisper, um, all of that. Yeah. So yeah, that's a lovely thing. You made me cry doing the tapping. Shocked me, to be honest. Oh yeah, I'll just explain a little bit on that. Yeah, I won't go into the thing, but yeah, just Darren's talking about we did EFT tapping, and tapping is a great thing on grief. Actually, that's a glad kind of you brought up, because what tapping does, or suicidal feelings, or overwhelm, or any of these feelings, tapping, what it does is by tapping on these acupressure points, it sends a calming signal to the amygdala in the brain, and your nervous system gets the message that you're safe, but at the same time it opens up the emotion, so you can get really into your emotions. So yeah, you can cry, you can release, it's quite surprising, especially if you're not used to that. Yeah, and Darren said, like, shocked him because you're not in the habit, right, of going around feeling your emotions and crying, or at least at that point. So by tapping, it kind of opened it up. So EFT tapping is something that I do a lot with clients when it comes up. Well, not all the time. I have lots of other ways, but it's a great way that you can do it for yourself as well. Yeah, I should do something on tapping actually at some point here, because I know a lot of people don't know about it. But yeah, I've been trained in that very deeply with trauma techniques and things. It's amazing, but it's a great one if you're feeling those heavy emotions. It help you clear. Yeah. Um, Isabel would love to know my time of birth, if that's possible. Yeah, that's probably not going to be something that they're going to do right now, but yeah, just it's something that you can find out, but it's not always necessary to know. Um, a lot of people don't know their time of birth. It's funny, I was thinking about this. It's funny you asked that question, even though it's not what we're talking about, but I'll just say very quickly. The time of birth, because I was thinking about human design, and I'm really, like, I've been sort of like studying in depth for a couple of years now, and I'm going to do some stuff on human design soon. And I was thinking, God, people that don't know the time of birth, it's really annoying. But then they were guiding me, saying that it doesn't matter because you can tap into the energies of things. You don't have to. A lot of people don't know that, and sometimes people that don't know that, it's because they're being guided into doing it in a different way. So you don't get the kind of easy bit of going, oh, I'm going to just tap into that. You're on a different path. So that's why if you don't know it, sometimes it's not important for you to know it. So I'm just throwing that there because I had that thought, I think it was today or yesterday. Yeah, so that was interesting. Michael advised me to do it, and love you did it. Oh, okay. Yeah, he's a good advisor of things. He knows. Yeah. 3 a.m. I think mine was, from what my mum said. Maybe that's why I'm a night lover. Yeah. Yeah, I think they say that, I don't know if this is true, but the time of day you were born impacts like how, like, when you feel energy or something. Because I was born at like 9:30 in the evening, and I'm definitely an evening person. Like, I'm not a morning person at all. Lisa, yeah. So Lisa's another one. Yeah, she does not know her birth time. So yeah, I chose never easy. But you're a good example of that. Like, you're on this path of, you know, you're having to dive in, right? In a certain very specific way. So just to tell you, Isabel, if you don't know it, it's that you're not the only one, right? I know lots of people, and Lisa is one. Yeah. So she's like, like she was, when we were talking about human design, it's like so frustrating. So what she's done is tap into the human design and really felt into which ones like resonate with her, which aspect, right? So it's so interesting. This is how expansive we are. All right. So any other questions about anything? Well, not anything. Death, passing, spirit realm. I think we covered a lot, actually. I'm just going to check if I've missed anything. I'm just going to check just in case, because I'm streaming on both my pages. I'm just going to check I haven't missed any comments on the other page, but I don't think I have. Just bear with me while I'm checking. I don't think so. Yeah, if I have, I'll check back. I don't think I have. Let's see. Oh, you love this stream. Okay, I'm glad. I'm glad I did it. I've really felt very deeply called to do it. So just saying your mum or your dad, anything. Okay, so yeah, on that, so how I do it is I don't channel the individuals. I think this is like a soul choice or something I made, because technically I could channel, right, anything, but my mission is not to do it in that way. But saying that, I'll just see if, because what I can do, and I've done it for people, to tune into the high angelic realm, if there's anything that you need to know about that specifically. But I don't channel the actual soul, right, of the person. Although occasionally that does happen, but yeah, it's not something I do. I'll just see if there's anything. Yeah, just curious. Yeah. I'll just see if there's anything that what they can share with you, seeing as you asked. So okay. So I'm just getting that they are incredibly proud of you, and they continue to connect with what you're doing and who you're being. And so know that they are fully aware of everything, everything that you're doing. And they're saying you have full privacy. Don't worry. But they are fully aware of your life, the path that you're on, and they understand you on a different level, because they're not in the physical, right? So they can understand you. So they are very proud of you in that way, because they're still your parents, and so they want you to know that you are deeply loved, and the love continues. um and have more conversations, have more chats. They're saying have more chats with your parents, because you absolutely can, and you'll find that the more you do it, your ability will strengthen, because you're deeply intuitive. You're just stepping into it, but you're very intuitive, and it's becoming stronger, and so it's easier. Your line of communication, your channel, because you can channel that through, is stronger. Okay, so they're just really giving you, and they just want you to know that there's so much love. It's so loving. I feel like I could cry with that. That is like a lot of love. They've just, I can really feel that they've just channeled that through for you. So they want that, it's like a beam of love to you. You are so deeply loved. It is incredible. And the love that they hold for you is even stronger than it was in human form, because in the human, not that they didn't love you in the human, they did, but it's human. It's like they're able to open their hearts through their own human bodies and their own human experiences and what they got taught from their parents and so on. But when they're in spirit, there's just a pure love for you. So, and it's so strong. They want to share that with you, and that is amazing. That's made me just want to cry nearly. It's so strong, it's so beautiful, and that's for all of you. They want to extend that to every single one of you on this live stream and on the replay, your loved ones. It's the same message, because it doesn't even matter. They're saying some of you have had challenging relationships with your parents. They're just talking about parents for a minute. Any of your parents that aren't here, and you've had challenges, or you didn't know them so well, or you didn't have the connection, you are connected through the heart. And so they are very much connected with so much deep love, because they assisted you to be here in the physical. They were here, they helped you be here in the physical. They, on a physical level, the body, the being that you are, was born into this lifetime for your soul to drop into this physical body of yours, and this physical body of yours was created by the physical bodies of your both your parents. And so there's a deep connection with your parents, even if you had the most challenging relationships with them. And obviously some of you did, and some of you had an incredible relationship, because it's beyond that. All right, so there's so much love. You are surrounded in love, and that is the thing to take away. And just to end this kind of stream is to say that this continues, it never goes away. And so you are infinitely connected. Okay, I felt that so strongly. I wish I could take it and package it and give it to you, and you could open it and you could get it into your body like I just got it, because it's just so beautiful. And I hope you just even felt a little bit of it through this stream, because it's, you are all so loved. And sometimes we go around, you know, in this lifetime, we can feel those moments of feeling alone or disconnected, and it's just a disconnection. So if you just keep bringing yourself back, you know, sometimes we feel like we don't have enough friends or family or people in our lives, or we all feel lonely at times, whether you're in a relationship or not. We all have moments where we just feel alone. It's just an illusion, but we're never alone. But we want to end on, you do get privacy. Our loved ones, we'll end on that one. Your loved ones don't follow you into the shower and when you're doing other things that you don't want your mum and dad or any loved ones to see. You have full privacy, and reminding you that they wouldn't care anyway. It's a different frequency. They don't judge you for anything because they're not in the human form. So we'll just end on that, because sometimes we do think, spirit, I don't want anyone to see me doing this thing. So no, that's just a human thing. All right. So, oh, thank you. Thank you, Darren. Thank you, Jan. Yes, we'll have to see you soon. I'm glad, Darren, that you know. Yeah, that you know, because when you know it, right? And that's it. Okay, good. And you can breathe that in and just carry yourself through that life knowing that, right? So that applies to every single one of you. So thank you for watching. Thank you for joining me live, and thank you if you're watching the replay. So feel free to comment here if you've just watched the replay. Let me know how you feel. I hope that, and we hope that you feel more clarity, maybe. We hope that your minds and your hearts feel even a little bit lighter. Replay any of this if you just need a reminder, or if you just need to hear it again. But that was the intention, to just, yeah, open the space up a little bit. And it might be, even if you found yourself, you know, drawn to this live stream way after I've streamed it, the messages still stand, because it doesn't matter like when you come across it. And I know a lot of people just suddenly randomly find my live streams like 2 years after I've done them or something, and I love that, because they don't go anywhere, they just stay on my pages, and people just accidentally find them. So feel free at any point, if it's relevant, you know, tag someone here, send them the link so they can watch it in their own time if they want. If you feel that there's someone that needs just some guidance or some clarity around death, passing, loved ones, spirit realm, grieving, all of this stuff, because these are big topics, and I think we're going to really come back to a lot of this, you know, going forwards, for obvious reasons. A lot's happening on the planet, so this is definitely a conversation that we need to be having. So you are so welcome, Wisteria, all of you. Thank you for the love, Darren. And I send you all a ton of love. And here we are in this incarnation, connected, even if we've never met, even if it's just an online thing, or even if we have, we're here. And I think it's such a sacred thing that when we're connected to each other, of all the billions of souls on this planet, we are connected somehow, right? So we probably had some other incarnations somewhere. And I know a lot of us are soul family, because we just know each other from wherever. We probably had all sorts of experiences right beyond this lifetime. So that is it. So thank you. Mwah, lots of love, and I will be here. Yeah, I like these in-depth live streams, and I have got a few more topics up my sleeve, so I might be back next week to do another clarity session, because I like them, and I'll do my like general kind of short live streams as and when through the week as well. So that is it for now. Thursday evening. Yep, it's about an hour and a half. It's probably a good time to wrap up. So yeah, I will see you soon, and yeah, take good care of yourself.